Madam Speaker, a rules package is one of the most consequential things we will consider this entire Congress. And as we stand here in the opening days of this Congress, I'm proud that the reforms before us represent things we will consider this entire Congress. And as we stand here in the opening days of this Congress, I'm proud that the reforms before us represent.
The House will come to order. Gentlemen may continue.
Madam Speaker, as we stand here in the opening days of this Congress, I am proud that the reforms before us represent a collaborative process that began many months ago. We asked members on both sides of the aisle for ideas. We listened to our many caucuses and coalitions. We spent hours in the Rules Committee listening to input during our Member Day hearing. And we spoke with the outside groups that study these issues. Weeks and weeks of thoughtful discussion got us to this point. That process made the final product an even stronger one. Not for one party or the other, but for this institution and for all those Americans counting on us to represent them. Not the special interest or the moneyed interests, but our workers and those struggling to get ahead. This is a rules package that encourages us to tackle the most pressing issues facing our nation today, like climate change, through the continued work of the Select Committee on the Climate Crisis. And I want to thank Chairwoman Castor for her leadership, along with Chairman Pallone and Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, who have encouraged us to think big when confronting the threat of climate change. And we are confronting the pandemic without any waste or fraud. That's through the ongoing work of the Select Committee on the coronavirus crisis under the stewardship of Chairman Clyburn. It makes reforms to our budget rules so that we can deal with these dual challenges through an all-hands-on-deck approach while maintaining fiscal responsibility. And I want to recognize the many members, especially the Blue Dogs, the Progressives, and the New Democrats, who worked together to make this compromise happen. We are also focusing on those who have traditionally been left behind through the creation of a new Select Committee on Economic Disparity and Fairness and Growth. And I want to thank Speaker Pelosi for her commitment to making sure our policies lift up every single American. This new Select Committee will sharpen our focus on the income and wealth disparity crisis that plagues our nation today. This package honors all gender identities by changing pronouns in the House written rules so they are gender neutral. Look, we made this change for the sake of inclusion, not exclusion. But I got to be honest with you. I heard the distinguished minority leader say that this rules package was canceling Mother's Day. I mean, are you kidding me? He also claimed that these rules make it so that members can no longer say father, mother, son, or daughter. Madam Speaker, has he even read the rules? That's just not accurate. That's not how this works. And by the way, our founding fathers are still our founding fathers. You know, Madam Speaker, maybe this is meant as a distraction. Maybe if we can create a controversy, then we're not talking about the ongoing pandemic, which over 350,000 people have already died due to mismanagement and incompetence. Or maybe we're not talking about the attempted coup being planned down at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But the bottom line is what has been said is just not accurate. I love this. Someone just handed me this. A member on the other side from, I think, Arizona said, for instance, he tweeted, if I stand up and I say that I'm a proud husband of my wife of almost 40 years now, then they would say that I violated the rules because you can no longer use any version of husband or father or gender reference between man and woman. I don't know what the hell he is talking about, Madam Speaker. Oh my God, that's my response to this. I mean, Madam Speaker, this is why people really are frustrated with Congress and with Washington. And I think we in this chamber need to hold ourselves to a higher standard when it comes to facts and reality. Unlike the White House, this should not be a fact-free zone. We ought to focus on facts. If my Republican friends want to disagree on policy, We could disagree on policy. There are lots of issues that separate us, and we should debate those issues. And that shouldn't be a radical idea. But people shouldn't make things up just to create a controversy. Accuracy matters, and it should come before saying whatever helps you get another hit on Fox News. But anyway, Madam Speaker, for those who insist on trying to disparage what we have done in the written rules, I want you to bring the bill to the floor and show me where it says in writing that we're canceling Mother's Day or that you can't refer to yourself as a husband or father or mother or grandmother. Give me a break. Enough is enough. We have to stop this, and we have to focus in on solving the problems that face the American people. This rules package also requires that oversight plans from committees include how they intend to combat race, gender, and other inequities. And it makes the Office of Diversity and Inclusion permanent. This will commit our institution to creating a diverse workforce for many, many years to come. And as we tackle these issues, Madam Speaker, this rules package creates a more transparent process for ideas to be considered. It makes permanent the requirement that all bills come before the Rules Committee, get a hearing and a markup first. It preserves the motion to recommit while making reforms so that it can no longer be used to hijack the legislative process for political gamesmanship. And we are also continuing temporary rules changes that have ensured that we completed the people's work as safely as possible during this coronavirus pandemic. I'm impressed with how this Congress was able to adapt and find a way to function in the midst of the worldwide health emergency. And during the pandemic in 1918, Congress was not able to adapt, but we did. And I would just say to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle that we need to listen to the Speaker's recommendation that we all continue to follow the best and most current health and medical guidance. Madam Speaker, we acted, and while we can and we should do much more for Americans struggling today, I am proud of what we were able to accomplish in the last year. And it is no small part due to the implementation of remote voting by proxy and the development of virtual committee proceedings. Admittedly, Congress isn't always known for being on the cutting edge of the digital world. This rules package, however, seeks to change that even further. It contains many reforms designed to help us better embrace technology so that we can get our work done as efficiently and transparently as possible. Congresswoman Eshoo and the Modernization Select Committee, under the leadership of Chairman Kilmer, were instrumental in these new changes. And Madam Speaker, now I just want to speak candidly for a moment. As important as these reforms are, and as proud of them as I am, I know there is something even more important, and that's the foundation that they are built upon. Ethical leadership must be the bedrock principle of this and every Congress. If the American people do not begin to trust their fundamental institutions again, then division, conspiracies, and mistruths will continue to fester. This body, each of us, must do our part. No matter what side of the aisle you are on or who you vote for, we must hold ourselves to the highest standard of leadership. People can and should question our positions on the issues, but we should never act in a way that invites anyone to question our motivation. That's why this rules package doesn't just tinker at the edges, it breaks new ground through transformative reforms. It removes floor privileges for former members convicted of crimes related to their House service or election. This will ensure that we can do our work here without the undue influence of lawbreakers. We tasked the Ethics Committee to come up with a bipartisan plan to handle deep fakes, because we need to stop the spread, intentional or unintentional, of manipulated media that's created to mislead the public. I'll note that we initially planned to go even further, amending our code of conduct with this rules package, but we heard some of our colleagues' concern. We agreed to take a little bit more time to get the language just right, and we will do that through our bipartisan Ethics Committee. Thanks to the leadership of Congresswoman Porter of California, we strengthened truth and testimony disclosures for witnesses that testify before Congress. Now the public and all members will have more information about those who appear before congressional committees. And our rules will further protect whistleblowers. This package prevents retaliation It also makes permanent an office dedicated to ensuring our congressional officers know how to handle whistleblower complaints in a responsible and secure way. And I want to recognize the tremendous work of many people, from Majority Leader Hoyer and Congresswoman Spear to members of the Progressive Caucus, that made these reforms a reality. In short, we're holding ourselves to a higher standard, Madam Speaker, not by changes developed in a vacuum just among ourselves. We also spoke with outside groups and experts and included their feedback. This is how the package was developed, through conversation, collaboration, and consultation. My Rules Committee colleagues, including Ranking Member Cole, offered input that was invaluable. Our committee chairs and their excellent staffs worked with us early in the morning and late at night as this package took shape. I'm deeply grateful for the work of all of our caucuses, including the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus, the New Democrat Coalition, the LGBTQ plus Equality Caucus, and the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus and the Blue Dog Coalition. The problem solvers were once again involved with crafting this package. I always appreciate the chance to work with Congressman Gottheimer and Congressman Reed. We even got to work with a new member of the problem solvers this Congress, Representative Van Taylor, and I could go on and on. Input from the nonpartisan staffs across this institution made this package stronger, and that includes those with the offices of the parliamentarian, the Congressional Budget Office, the clerk, the general counsel, the Congressional Research Service, the Sergeant-at-Arms, and the Chief Administrative Officer, just to name a few. Many staffers worked through the holidays on this, and I'm deeply grateful for their efforts, especially the incredible staff on the Rules Committee. Democrats have been entrusted by the American people to lead this institution. But the rules package is about more than party. It is about making this chamber work at its best for the people we represent. These reforms will do that. They will hold us to a higher standard so we can get it done for them, and in a way that makes the public proud. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support in passing this package, and let's implement real reforms so we can quickly get to work on behalf of the American people. And before I reserve the balance of my time, I just want to take 1 second, Madam Speaker, to thank my Republican colleagues on the Rules Committee. We always don't agree on everything, but they are up in the Rules Committee diligently at every meeting, making the case for their side of the aisle. And I especially want to thank my ranking member, Mr. Cole, who cares deeply about this institution. And while we probably will not agree on this rules package, we agree that we need to make this a better place, and we need to hold it to the highest standards in terms of integrity, and to make sure the American people have trust in what we do here. So with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Oklahoma.